A man showed me a photograph on his phone of the security setup he had just finished. Cameras at 4 corners, a doorbell that talks, sensors on every window, an app that told him when the dog walked past the hallway. Close to $2,000, and he was proud of it. And he had every right to be. Then I asked him what his front door was made of. He did not know. Most people do not. And that is the thing worth understanding before you spend another dollar, because almost every product in that photograph was designed to tell him something bad was happening. Almost none of them were designed to stop it. Those are completely different products, and the industry sells you the first one while letting you believe you bought the second. A camera does not stop anybody, it records. A siren does not stop anybody, it announces. The things that actually stop entry are boring. They cost under $100, and there is no subscription attached to them, which is exactly why nobody markets them to you. So today it is 10 things ranked worst to first by how much safety they buy per dollar, and I'm going to spend most of the time at the cheap, unglamorous end, because that is where the entire answer lives. My number one costs about $30 at a hardware store and installs in an afternoon, and it will do more than everything above it combined. Do not skip. The reason is the whole video. Let me say one thing, then I will leave it be. Everything I have picked up behind that counter, how to buy right the first time, what is worth your money and what ain't, I put it all in one book over at buyproven.com. If you want it, it is there. That is all. Now let us get back to it. Here is the filter, and it is the whole framework. Every dollar you spend buys one of 4 things. Deterrence, which makes somebody choose a different house. Delay, which makes entry take longer than they are willing to spend. Detection, which tells you it is happening. And response, which is what you do about it. Most people spend everything on detection and nothing on delay, and delay is the only one of the 4 that actually buys you time. Time is the currency here. Everything else is a way of spending it or wasting it. Number 10, the fake camera and the alarm company yard sign with no alarm behind it. I am putting this at the bottom rather than leaving it off, because people do buy these and I want to be fair about what they do. $10 to $30. And there is a real small deterrent effect because most break-ins are opportunistic and a person choosing between houses may choose the other one. Where it costs you is that anyone who looks twice will know, and worse, it gives you a feeling of protection you did not buy. That feeling is the actual danger. A man with a fake camera checks his locks less carefully than a man with nothing, and that trait is bad. If you are going to spend $30, spend it on the number 1 item instead, and the next one at least does something real. Number 9, the interior camera system. $200 to $600 plus a monthly fee, and I want to be clear that these are genuinely useful. Video evidence matters for insurance and for police, and being able to check on your house from anywhere is worth something real. Here is where it costs you against the filter. It is pure detection after the fact. The camera watches the man come through the window. It does not slow him down by 1 second. And a lot of families buy the camera package, feel finished, and never touch the door that let him in. There is a second cost people do not consider, which is that an interior camera is a device in your home with a lens and a microphone and an internet connection. Whatever you think about that, think about it deliberately rather than by accident, and at minimum change the default password and turn on 2-factor. Useful tool, wrong priority. The next one is the same category done better. Number 8, the video doorbell, $100 to $250. Better than the interior camera for one specific reason. It works before entry rather than after, and it works at the front door, which is where an enormous share of break-ins actually start with somebody knocking to see if anybody is home. The single best feature is being able to answer it from anywhere and have a voice come out of the box. A house that answers is a house somebody is home in, and that is genuine deterrence. Where it costs you is that it covers one door, the one they are least likely to force, and the subscription adds up over years into real money that would have been better spent lower on this list. Buy one. Buy it after everything below it. Number 7 is where the deterrence gets serious. Number 7, exterior lighting, specifically motion activated. $50 to $200, and this is the first item on the list that is actually good value. Darkness is the working condition. Take it away, and you have removed the thing the whole approach depends on. Motion lights in the places people actually approach from, which is not the front walk, it is the side of the house, the back door, the fence line, and anywhere there is cover, and it does something the cameras do not. It creates a visible event that a neighbor might notice, and neighbors noticing is one of the most effective things in this entire video. Where it costs you is nothing much, honestly. Wire them or buy solar ones, aim them so they do not blind you when you take the trash out, and be a good enough neighbor to aim them out of somebody's bedroom window. Cheap, effective, no subscription. And number 6 is the same principle applied to the yard itself. Number 6, sight lines and landscaping. This costs you a Saturday and maybe $40. Cut the shrubs down below the windowsills. Trim the tree limbs up above head height. Move the ladder out of the side yard and lock it up. Get the wheelbarrow and the trash cans away from the fence and away from the second-story windows, because that is a step stool. What you are doing is removing concealment. A person working on a window wants to not be visible while they do it, and every bit of cover you remove makes your house a worse choice than the one next door with the hedge under the bay window. It is free, it never needs a battery, and nobody will ever sell it to you, which is exactly why it is at 6 and not lower. Number 5, the monitored alarm system. $300 to $600 to install, $20 to $50 a month. This is the most expensive item on the list over time, and I still think it earns a spot for one reason: response. It is the only thing here that summons help without anybody in the house doing anything, and if you're asleep or away or unable to reach a phone, that matters. Contacts on the doors and windows, a couple of motion sensors, a loud interior siren. The siren itself does real work, because noise ends the quiet the entire approach depends on. Where it costs you is the recurring cost and the false alarm problem, which is real and which will make you stop arming it if you let it get bad. A system that lives disarmed is worse than nothing because you paid for it and got no protection. Good product. But $300 of this money spent on the top 4 items buys more actual safety, and the industry will never tell you that. Number 4 is the first thing on this list that physically stops someone. Number 4, window security film. $200 to $600 for the ground floor of a typical house. More if you have it professionally installed, and this is genuinely underknown. Here is what it is: a thick, clear polymer film applied to the inside of the glass. The glass still breaks. That is not what it stops. What it stops is the glass falling out of the frame, which means the hole does not open, which means somebody has to keep hitting it, repeatedly, loudly, for a long time. That is delay, and it is the first real delay on this list. A window that takes 20 seconds of loud effort instead of 1 second of a single strike changes the decision entirely, because noise and time are the 2 things nobody breaking into a house wants to spend. Where it costs you is that it must be applied properly to the edges, and cheap film applied badly does very little, and it does nothing for a door. Which brings us to the top 3, and all 3 of them are doors, because doors are where this actually happens. Number 3, the sliding glass door fix. Under $50. A sliding door is the weakest opening in most American houses, and almost nobody addresses it. 2 things fix it: a bar or a cut length of dowel in the track so the door physically cannot slide even if the latch is defeated. That is a $10 solution to a very common entry point. And a screw or a pin through the upper track, because a lot of sliding doors can simply be lifted out of the track entirely with the latch still locked. Most people do not know their door does that. Go try it. Right now, after this video, lift up on your slider and see how much it moves. Add security film to the glass from number 4, and a sliding door goes from the softest point in the house to one of the harder ones for under $100 total. Number 2, the door itself and its hardware, $100 to $400. Here is what matters. In order: a solid core or metal door. Knock on yours. If it sounds hollow, it is, and a hollow interior grade door in an exterior frame is a formality rather than a barrier. A deadbolt with at least a 1-inch throw, and a good one. Look for the ANSI Grade 1 rating, which is the commercial grade, and it costs about $60 instead of $25. And the strike plate, which is the metal piece on the frame that the bolt goes into. Almost every house in America has one held on by 2 3/4-inch screws into soft trim. That is what fails when a door gets kicked. Not the lock, not the door. The trim splits, and the whole assembly comes off the wall, which brings me to number one. Number one, and here is the rule I am breaking. This industry says home security is a technology purchase. Cameras, apps, sensors, monitoring, subscriptions. Everybody believes it, and every advertisement you have ever seen for this reinforces it. It is wrong, and number one is a box of 3-inch screws that costs about $7, plus a proper reinforced strike plate for about $25. Here's the entire mechanism. When somebody kicks a door, the force goes into the strike plate. The strike plate is held by short screws that only reach the door jamb, which is a thin piece of trim nailed to the frame. Those screws pull out of the trim, and the door opens, and the whole thing takes 1 or 2 kicks and about a second. Replace those short screws with 3-inch screws that pass through the jamb and bite into the structural stud behind it, and add a reinforced strike plate with 4 screws instead of 2, and now the kick has to break framing lumber instead of trim. That is a completely different physical problem, and it takes many attempts and a great deal of noise. Do the same thing on the hinge side, because a door is only as good as both edges. Replace 1 screw in each hinge with a 3-inch screw into the stud. Total cost, about $30. Total time, an afternoon with a drill. And it does more against the most common forced entry method than every camera, app, and subscription in this video combined. I know some of you wanted a gadget in this spot. I get it. I really do. There is nothing to show your brother-in-law here. No app, no notification on your phone. And it is deeply unsatisfying to spend $30 on a solution. But strip the marketing off it and the numbers only point one way. The doors where they come in and the screws are what fail, and everything else on this list is a way of finding out about it afterward. Proven, common, affordable, and it will still be working in 2075. Spec, history, price, it wins all three. Now the honest part, and this is the part I actually want you to keep, layer it in this order. Delay first, because time is the only thing that helps you. Deterrence second, because a house that looks like work is a house somebody skips. Detection third, so you know. Response last. And response includes what you have thought about and practiced, not what you own. And here's the thing I have to say plainly as a man who sells nothing and works on rifles. A firearm is a response tool, and it is the last item in the chain, not the first. It does nothing about the door, nothing about the window, nothing about the lighting, and nothing about whether you are even awake. A man who has spent $2,000 on guns and $30 on his doors has built his house backwards, and I have met that man many times. If there is a firearm in your home for this purpose, it needs 3 things that have nothing to do with the gun. It needs to be secured so that only you can access it. And if there are children or grandchildren in the house, that is not a preference, it is a requirement, and a quick access safe costs about $200. It needs a light attached to it or beside it, because you cannot make a decision about a shape in the dark, and you are legally and morally responsible for knowing what you are pointing at. And it needs a plan that everyone in the house knows, which is where people go, who calls, and what happens when the police arrive and find a person in a dark house holding a gun. That last one is worth more than any item in this video, and it costs nothing but a conversation at the kitchen table. Training beats gear, every single time. The most important tool you own sits between your ears, and a house full of devices you never configured is not security, it is decoration. If I could only keep 3 off this whole list, it would be the 3-inch screws and reinforced strike plates, because they are the highest return $30 in this entire subject. Motion lighting, because darkness is the working condition, and the sliding door bar, because it is a $10 fix for the softest point in most houses. Not because they are the flashiest, because they are proven, they are right for the job, and they are the kind of thing you teach your kids someday. Buy proven, not hyped. And fix the door before you buy the camera. Alright, your turn. What did you install that actually made a difference? And what did you buy and never use? Drop it in the comments, because that second list is going to help somebody more than the first. And tell me what I left off, because I know somebody is going to say I should have covered dogs, and they are right. And a dog beats most of this list. I read every one. The comment scraps are half the fun. Next time we do the response half of this, the home defense plan itself, what actually happens in the 4 minutes after a window breaks, and the mistake almost everybody makes in the first 10 seconds. That one is going to start a bigger fight than this one. Shoot straight, buy proven, and I will see you at the counter.